Hey YouTube, Mike here. How we doing today? All right, today we're in front of my MFT3 setup here, and I'm going to be going over what I do to maintain the MFT3 table. Now, both of my tables I bought were MFT3s. I keep the track, that second track, as just a short track, and I keep the parts up in the ceiling, up in the attic of the garage, as backup parts. I'm eventually going to be using that other track, minus the guardrail, to work with the MTR 18 on this side, and moving the vacuum clamping system. But right now, I'm just working off this one thing. Now, you can find a ton of videos, even from Festool, on the setup of the table. But this is what I do to maintain the table. Now, as you know, I got two tables. I got the SYS drawer systems underneath it. I got a vacuum with the boom arm. I have a Calavera 5 system mounted on the side. I keep a marker and a pen here. I keep my ruler, my knife. I keep pretty much everything. My 55 is under here. All of my clamps and hold downs and puff dogs and spin knobs, they're all in this Sustainer 1, and I keep all my other little assembly stuff here. So I got everything pretty much in this one area. My extension cord, my air. So I use this a lot. And not just for woodworking, I'll just put things together on this. So the table does get banged out of alignment. So once a week, maybe once every week and a half, what I do is I go through this procedure. All right, this is what I do, not necessarily what everybody does, but it just, for me, I find it to work out great. All right, first thing I want to do is, before I check any alignment, before I check square, before I check anything, I want to clean the table off. So I use just a regular, I use a toothbrush. I do have a small nylon brush. No, don't use metal, just use something that is nylon. And I keep a 3mm and a 5mm Allen keys near the table, because you have a 3mm for the feather stops and 5mm for everything else on the table, which locks in the track, which locks in the adjustment for the protractor, and what you can adjust the tension on the clamps. So I keep these always around inside of this Sustainer 1. Now, first thing what I do is I remove the front support. Now, remember, when you're going to remove it, you have this lock here, but you got to loosen it. You loosen the lock, you take it off. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing with removing the protractor. You'll kind of get the idea. I take this toothbrush and I run the toothbrush inside of the actual track. Now, I do that with all of the tracks around, where you can put the clamps in. Once I do that, I also remove the flag stop, and I run the toothbrush in the flag stop. I run the toothbrush on it, in front of it, under it, around the protractor. I remove the track. We're not going to do that because you'll understand. I run it inside the track. I also remove the hose/wire guide from it, and I clean the actual track. I'll take this, brush all this out, because you're going to get, I get spider webs, sawdust. Then I take the air hose. I blow through the track all the way around. I blow inside of this lockdown, and I blow out this entire locking mechanism and also the track mechanism with air. Blow that all. I'll come over here to the fence. I blow the fence out. I blow out the protractor. Okay, so air is done. Now, you want to check to make sure that the feather stops are tight. That's the 3mm. So I'll come over to it and make sure it's tight. Now, I do loosen them, and if you look inside your MFT, you'll see there's an indent in there. That indent will index where this is, because it comes from the factory with the stops built in. So I'll make sure that these are tight. I'll put the track back on, and we'll go over to the track in a second, and I'll put the front guide back in and slam it up against the stop, and then tighten this down. Leave this alone. I'll check the squareness of this, and I'm going to take the camera off, and I'm going to show you something right now. When you put this track back on, let me just take the camera off, and we'll go over to the back over here. Right here. You want to set this, that the back, this piece right here, that flap is center, and then you want to just go a little bit more to the back, and then you're going to lock down this screw first. Once that's locked in, then you're going to lock down that screw. Then you're going to loosen this and slam it up against this feather stop. So now you know that both are in line with each other. All right, let's get this back up on the tripod. And let's get this back into, okay. So now, what I do is I'll take a piece of 3/4, because that's a lot, mostly what I cut. Put it up against the fence. I'll lower it down and then bring up the front stop and then lock it. So now I know that this now is flat to a piece of 3/4. Now I can do my, I can square up the fence. Now with this, I use the MTR 18, a very large square. You can use any square that you have. I'll drop the fence down, the rail down, put this up against. Now, as you can see here, there's no movement. Now let me pan in, and I'm going to make this go out of alignment. There we go. I'm just going to release the back hold down, and now I'm out of alignment. Listen, I'm not square now. Now the first thing you do is you can try by aligning this right here. So align this up, and now nothing, no movement. The other thing is you take your 5mm, am I still in there? You take your 5mm, and you loosen these two screws back here, and you move the protractor with the square on it. But locking that, keeping that locked down, most of the time, that is going to loosen the back hold down, the back piece. That's what's going to loosen. So right now, I am in perfect alignment. No movement, nothing back and forth. That was me. See? Nothing. So now I know I can get 3/4 under here, and my track is now aligned with the fence. So, did all the cleaning, made sure that the two feathered stops were in. Now I'll just put back my flag stop. Get that nut aligned. There you go. And then I'll put back my hose. Now you don't need to wrench this thing down. I just tighten it with my finger here at the end, that's all. Just so that I can re-loosen it again with my finger to take it off. I really don't, it's being pushed on with the hose and the wire. So it really doesn't come off. Also, a good thing to have is I keep it inside the laundry room, is a new edge guard. Because I find with the heat in here, I lose this. I change this probably at least three times a year. So now, we're square. Everything is clean. It's calibrated. Always, again, make sure you're at 0. Also, make sure that the two protractor knobs, loosen them. Every now and then, I'll actually take the whole thing apart, protractor, everything, even take these things out. I'll run a brush over the threads. You get a ton of sawdust in it. You get a ton of moisture because of the temperature here in Florida. Make sure that the pin has been indexed down. And now we're all clean. We're clean, we're set. Now, I just want to show you a little trick with this table. If you want to cut, say, a small piece, okay? Here's your, you want to cut, say, a little. Now, you see how far you're reaching over? There's a quicker way and a little easier way that you could do it. And you don't have to reach across the table. Us people that are height restrictive here, a little bit harder to reach across. So what I do, now, I'm going to take a few of these out. These are from TSO products. They're two little dogs. These are from Veritas, stainless steel ones, which are a little bit shorter. You could use, or you can actually use the clamping element from Festool. And as you can see, your holes are so perfectly CNC'd. You put this up against, you mark your piece, say you want to cut it right there, drop down your fence, bring it over to your mark, push it up against your dogs, run your saw across. Now look how much closer you are to the end of the table. You could even use the clamping elements. They fit right underneath the track. Now, with the dogs, they're under a ½ inch. So you can get away with a ½ inch piece. But depending on how long the piece is, because you're not doing a tiny little piece, you can put that dog here, not under the fence, and you still have a square piece right here to make your cut. So you can get away with a ½ inch and 3/4 width if you have the parf dogs, or if you have whose ever dogs that will fit through this 20mm hole. Just a little quick thing that I've done just so that I'm not reaching across the table. That's it when I have small little pieces to cut. Okay, let me move this camera back because I did a little tool review, and I did a review on the Cavalera belt system. But there was something that I forgot. There's another product that they have. It's the Velcro Loop with their carabiner to tie up your extension cords and your hoses. It will even fit the 2-inch orange rigid hose, tripled. So like you see here, 3 loops. It will fit through it and hold very nicely. And they're very low profile. If you happen to have the the bracket system, like I have on the end of the MFT table and mounted on your wall in your shop, you can mount these right hanging from your wall. Very neat, very tidies everything up. Okay, YouTube. I hope that was helpful. Again, you know, this is what I do. I find it to be 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to do the whole thing. Okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like it, please subscribe to my channel. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for all of the subscribes, the likes, the comments. I'll answer every single comment. If you want a Mike's Woodshop sticker, I'm going to include my email address, and just email me your mailing address and I will have my daughter send you out a sticker. All right, YouTube? It's getting a little cooler. I'm not sweating as much. And once the temperature gets down to about 70, I got to start painting the whole thing. I'm going to be doing a full shop. My shop is now completed. I have pretty much everything where I want it to be. Now I just have to kind of do a little sanding and I got to paint. And I think I found the paint that's very close to Festool's colors. So with that off-white and green edges, that's how I'm doing the shop. Okay, YouTube, you all be safe out there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.